And we all realized that day that it is a Europe, it is a world before and a world after the 24th of February. But at NATO, things were actually, we were well prepared because we knew this was coming. We had warned against it for many months. We had precise intelligence, and we actually shared intelligence, something we normally or usually don't do, about the plans and intentions of Russia to invade Ukraine. So that morning, the early morning, we convened the North Atlantic Council. We activated NATO's defense plans, meaning we added more troops on the eastern part of the lines, and we stepped up our support to Ukraine. So we had the kind of calm and measured atmosphere here at the headquarters. So meaning that we knew exactly what to do, but we also saw the seriousness and the gravity of what was unfolding in Ukraine. Both Finland and Sweden should be ratified. Both Finland and Sweden. Wars are by nature unpredictable, so no one can tell when or how this war ends. What we do know is that President Putin made two big strategic mistakes when he invaded Ukraine. The first was to totally underestimate Ukraine, the bravery, the courage of the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian armed forces and Ukrainian leadership. Second, he underestimated NATO and our partners because we have demonstrated a unity and resolve to provide support to Ukraine that he didn't expect at all. His plan and what he expected was to take Kiev within days and to control Ukraine within weeks, and it totally failed. The UN Charter and Ukraine. So if President Putin and Russia stops fighting, then the war will end. We will have peace. If President Zelensky and Ukraine stops fighting, then Ukraine will cease to exist as a sovereign independent nation. So this is not two equal parties. It's an aggressor and a victim of aggression. To ensure that Russia doesn't invade Ukraine. We don't know when the war will end, but what we do know is that when the war ends, we need to ensure that history doesn't repeat itself. This is part of a pattern, Georgia 2008, Donbas, Crimea 2014, and then the full-fledged invasion last year. We need to ensure that we break the cycle of Russian aggression. We need to prevent Russia from chipping away at European security, and therefore we need to ensure that Ukraine has the military capabilities, the strength to deter further aggression, and also find frameworks to ensure that Russia doesn't attack again after this war ends. Turkey has made it clear that they are ready to ratify. Also, we haven't seen any supplies of lethal aid from China to Russia, but we have seen signs that they are considering and maybe planning for that. And that's the reason why the United States and other allies have been very clear warning against that. And China should, of course, not support Russia's illegal war. A blatant violation of international law. China is a member of the UN Security Council, and Russia's war aggression against Ukraine is a violation of the UN Charter. The basic principle of that charter is to respect the integrity of other nations and not to march in and invade another country with hundreds of thousands of troops. And of course, China should not be part of that. Signed the new charter, and NATO allies are not party to the conflict, but there are some challenges remains when it comes to Sweden, but President Erdogan and I agree that we should convene a meeting of Turkey, Finland and Sweden here at the NATO headquarters under my auspices mid-March in the near future to address the challenges we face when it comes to Turkish ratification of the Swedish accession protocol. My message is that both Finland and Sweden should be ratified. But NATO reacting. So we see some progress. We see some progress. I welcome that Erdogan, that President Erdogan and I agreed on the meeting that will take place here in Brussels in the near future, and then we need to work on the remaining issues to preserve peace and to remove any room for miscalculation in Moscow.